hats off to to men like that.
I did not think that's what you're going to say.
Hello. And how are you doing? How are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing well. I thought that was like the
Yeah, I was waiting to hear our listeners tell me that they're doing great.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
Anyway, I'm Jim.
And I'm Steve.
And we are Inappropriate. I have big news. I cannot wait to share it with everyone.
I want to touch on something because I got some listener feedback.
We probably fucked something up. It's the only time somebody ever reaches out to us.
Yes, it is kind of like people always tend to want to tell us when we do shit wrong.
Never tell us, hey, great show.
I think that's in life. Like, people like to point out your faults than your accomplishments.
My neighbor Brad, he does tell me, great show.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good.
But he might be the only one that says great show.
I thought he was going to say that like, your grass is too high.
Cut your grass, you lazy son of a bitch.
I know. The other week, we talked about things that, a list of things that women find sexy in men.
Oh, the sexiest hobbies that a man can have.
Correct, yes. One of the ones that we talked about was reading.
Right.
My sister Holly messaged me.
Oh, she still listens.
Yes, she listens. So she said, reading is the number one hobby women find sexy in men because it means he's quiet and generally in one place and doesn't bother her for a while.
Oh.
So it's like you can keep track of them. They're not talking to you and they leave you alone.
She's looking for a mute in a wheelchair.
Maybe.
Just set him on the couch.
Just like a doll.
Right.
That you can just proportion. But she says that's why she would find reading sexy in men. I just wanted to touch on that before we get into the meat of the episode. You have been busy.
So I'm making a movie. Put that out there, and it is consuming my entire life.
It definitely is.
I completely underestimated the amount of sheer time dealing with the pre-production of making a movie. And initially, I was going to star in it as well as directed.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, yeah, sure. Why
Easy
not?
enough, yeah.
Easy enough. Until I started talking with the producers and realized that it's not really feasible. It makes everything just crazy. So I said to them, when we get into casting, if someone can play me better than me, then I will back out and just direct. In 1 week, we've had over 1,300 submissions.
That means there are so many actors that are trying to get work.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've had people, not only just in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well, that have heard about this and said that they work for free. I take a little credit to that for developing the vibe and the atmosphere that I'm trying to, mold. They say, don't wait for Hollywood to come to you. Mm-hmm. You just create your own stuff. So I just took that advice and I started writing. And I just wanted to write that like a raunchy comedy of the comedies, that I grew up with.
One of the movies that somebody would say, do you think they could make this movie today kind of feeling?
That is what I was going for.
Yeah.
The kind of movie that a studio would be like, ooh, you got to take that scene out.
Yeah.
But people are attracted to it. And I think the world is ready. I think the world is healing, Steve.
I mean, based on our conversation last week, I do believe that the world is going back to a place where we need these kind of comedies. We need things that are just a little bit off color. So that can point out the stupid stuff.
So initially, this movie was, the characters in the movie are Jim, Joe, and Steve.
Yes.
And JJ is a supporting character.
Which,
So I really wrote this when I was writing it. I never intended it to be what it's grown into, but it was just to be a run and gun sort of shoot that you, I, and Joe would just do it on the weekends, and just have fun with it. Never intending it to do anything. Like it was just something we would do, and then maybe throw it up bits and pieces or something. And it started out with 12 pages, and that's when I met Kyle, and he wanted to produce another film that I had written. And I told him, I said, I really got this crazy comedy that might be better to shoot initially. And he's like, yeah, send it over too. So I sent him and Joe, different Joe, the two producers, Kyle and Joe. I sent them the script, and the next day they called me and said, we want in.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Joe was like, I want to be JJ. Can I be like, I want to be in the movie too. And I was like, yeah, sure. I said, I'm going to be Jim, and if you want JJ, fine. I was just overwhelmed with how many people were, there's a scene with a goat. and I had a lady auditioned for the role of this goth girl that's in it. And she's like, I'll bring my goat. Like, I was made for this role. She lives in North Carolina. She was willing to drive up with a goat just for this role. And, I've never been on this side of the submissions. Normally as an actor, I'm the one submitting. You don't see how many people you're against or anything like that.
That would instantly like check off a box, because then you're like, I don't need to find a goat.
I already found a goat, but the goat was the first thing I cast. For for instance, the role of the goth girl, there was about 10 well-qualified actresses that could 100% do it. They had the look, they had the resume, and it's like, how do you narrow it down?
Yeah.
Any one of them, you could throw a dart on the board, and they
would all do great.
They would all do great, So it was difficult to tell, sorry, we went with someone else. I can't tell you why. Because I don't, it's just an instinct that,
Yeah, you just had a feeling.
I had Zoom calls, and this one particular actress stood out, and she got it.
I mean, that's kind of how it is. Like,
it's just that it factor. You know what I mean? People say the it factor. Like, you can't really,
explain it. It just happens.
It just, it, and the way that they respond to the production and all that.
It's funny, because one of the characters is named Steve, and anticipated that I would do it. The idea of like how much work you're doing and how like time consuming and how strong, it would be my biggest fear. Like if I was in it and I wasn't good, so it's a relief that you found somebody that can play me better than me.
It's going to be fun. So we're getting ready to launch the social media campaign in a couple days. So I invite everyone to support the film, no matter which way you want to support it. It's great, but go follow the film on Instagram at ESA Movie on Instagram. And right now it's just, I think we just parked the page. So go follow it. And then next week sometime we're going to release the pitch video, which we recorded a few days back. And
I can't wait to see that.
The pitch video is insane. It really is. Like I wrote the script for this pitch video too. So, and it has nothing really to do with the movie, but it's just in the same vein of comedy.
Okay. I hope I don't have to lie and tell you it's funny.
I don't ever want you to lie. Like, I want as much support as possible. And if anybody's listening, we do need extras on a very large scene as well as some of the other smaller scenes. So there's opportunities to be in the movie. There's opportunities to have lines in the movie. You can donate to the movie. You can buy your way in as a executive producer. You can buy your way on the behind the scenes. It should be an entertaining couple of months at the very least. So go follow
absolutely.
ESA Movie before it launches.
Well, since you are in the business,
baby,
I have a news story that I want to. I want you to create this. It could work if you were trying to be a detective as well.
Okay,
but I want you to create the scene here for like what's happening. I'm going to give you the facts of this story.
It's like a little game.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a game. So I'm going to give you the facts of this story, and I want you to tell me what happened. All right?
Oh, all right.
All right. Ana Beatriz Pereira Alves a.k.a. Anna Polly, was found dead in the ground floor of a courtyard of an upscale Mont Blanc part hotel in the just northwest of Rio de Janeiro. British authorities are digging into details of her death as she was a OnlyFans person. A lot of OnlyFans on the show lately. Here's her picture.
Blonde hair. She looks Brazilian.
She is Brazilian.
Okay. But so it's dyed blonde hair. She probably has black hair.
Yes.
Thick thighs and a tattoo, which I can't distinguish on her left side.
Yeah, it looks like the
heavily made
The
up.
tattoo kind of looks like the man-eating plant in Little Shop of Horror. but she was filming a threesome scene.
Okay.
And plunged to her death off the side of a balcony in this hotel. I can see it in your head. You're like piecing together what...
I think I got it.
All right. The two male scene partners are telling two totally different stories about what went down on the wild filmed hookup. The co-stars are also OnlyFans performers, and they both were released after questioning. The cops are now checking like the CCTV and talking to the staff and trying to dig out what happened. The autopsy stuff isn't out yet, so they don't know exactly what happened, if any drugs were in her system.
I don't even think drugs would matter if there's two other people in the room.
Okay. Now, and also her boyfriend, who's not part of the incident, he like went on social media and said how heartbroken he is and looking to get to the bottom of what happened.
How somebody actively in a threesome would end up dead in a courtyard, at least several stories below.
Yes.
The setup that I'm thinking, she was almost doing like a handstand on the railing, and somebody, was like, had her legs over their shoulders, maybe giving some like reverse oral.
Okay.
And maybe she was lubed up a little too much. Hands gave way.
So when you say a handstand, they
On
still
the
have
railing.
Okay, so she's on the railing.
Like she was like holding on the railing.
How tall do you think those guys were?
No. Like she's holding on the railing at like chest high.
Okay.
And then he's got, he's standing up with her legs. So she's kind of like perpendicular.
Okay, I got you. So she's like almost planking.
Right.
Kinda.
But if he stands up, she's a little more inclined.
Yes.
Right. And then maybe if she's lubed up and her hands just slipped and maybe he didn't have a good grip, or maybe he was about to bust and you get those weak knees and just dropped her.
Yeah. If that was the case, why are both performers are telling two different stories? Because that would seem pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a clue.
I mean, I don't have the answer.
Oh.
It's a. I wanted you to paint the picture because we'll do a follow up once the more of the information comes out.
Well, that could be two different stories, because one guy is the one that was directly holding her, and he's going to say she slipped.
Yeah, okay.
And the other guy that was witnessing it might have said, no, the other guy tripped and pushed his weight into her over, which would then, like, he would be maybe manslaughter. But if she slipped and he just couldn't hold on to her.
I feel pretty confident, even though I don't know anything about it, that it had to be a total accident. Like, I don't think they're like, filming snuff videos for OnlyFans and just threw this girl off the side of the balcony. My vision is they're like on the balcony and it's daylight and they're like doing it on the balcony, recording it. Both guys are there and she's being held by one of the guys, and there's like a transition for her to go to the other guy.
And maybe she puts her hand on the railing.
Puts her hand on the railing.
Oh, you know what? You might be right. Like a 69.
Yes.
But like he was standing up.
He was holding, like, yes.
And then maybe.
Because I feel like from her picture, she looks like she's petite, and I'm assuming she's short,
And then maybe they were trying to turn her around.
Because, you want to be like manly, I guess, and then he just kind of like fucking tossed her.
That's horrible. Death sucks. Especially that. It was such a preventable death.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then to be her boyfriend, she's getting banged by two dudes and you aren't even one of them.
So part of me was like, was it a jealous boyfriend type thing?
That's a whole industry which I don't really I don't know much about. If somebody's already in the porn industry and then you start dating them, they don't start just exclusively sleeping with you.
Yeah,
Especially if
and I
that's
don't
their
think you can
income.
set that expectation with someone and be like, I want you to stop. And if they're making fucking thousands of dollars. I mean, like they're making a living off of it. So,
yeah, that's unfortunate.
R.I.P. Anna. Jim just did the sign of the cross. All right.
So you said jealous boyfriend. Just a quick banger. The headline that says it all. The entire story. A 25-year-old woman has avoided jail after being convicted of harassing and bombarding her ex-boyfriend with videos of her farting. And it got me thinking, how many videos do you have to send for your ex-boyfriend to go, you know what, now it's harassment? You know, the first one was funny, and then I thought you were just weird.
Yeah.
And then it was an inconvenience, but now you're harassing me. Like, how much gas does this woman have to videotape every fart and then go, I'm sending it?
She must be so salty at him.
And she looks like someone that would send farts.
Yeah. She's got purple,
like a purple streak in her hair. Yeah, brunette. She just looks angry, very gassy.
I think if you were, oh man, just farts are still funny to me.
They're always fun.
They're always fun. But like, if you sent me a video of farting and then just sent it to me, I'd be like, what the fuck?
A fart with no context is just a fart.
Yes. Now, if it's from like an ex-girlfriend and she keeps sending these farts, it's just fucking nuts. Florida man arrested for sexual contact with the animal. Allegedly tried to put penis in horse's nostril.
So my knee-jerk reaction is, how big are horses' nostrils?
I know that. I feel like they're pretty big. They're always sniffing. They're doing that fucking thing.
So he either has a small penis or
horses have large
big
nostrils. Yeah. So it says, according to the documents, police say they received a call about alleged sexual activity involving an animal. I feel like if you're gonna do that, like, you should honestly
take it to dinner first.
at least like do it behind closed doors, like for people to call you. Cops say an unnamed witness told them they saw a man masturbating next to the head of a 28-year-old horse named Raven.
Well, that's not illegal.
Yeah, that's not illegal. Yeah, so really they're calling it because it's, I guess, maybe at that point if he gets arrested, it's just public decent. It's
maybe it wasn't in public.
Yeah.
And then the other person is a peeping Tom. Like,
you know
mind
what?
your own business.
Yeah, so right now, I think this guy's okay. The witness also alleged that the man was tapping his member against the horse's nose.
Like a porn video.
Yes. And he attempted to insert it into the nostril. Cops say the witness claims the man continued to pleasure himself while touching the horse. Cops say they received a video from this witness shows exactly what she described to them.
So she was videotaping.
Yeah, Calloway touching himself next to the horse before tapping the horse with his penis. The video doesn't show Calloway actually inserting his penis, but they add his actions and movement make it seem like he's certainly trying to do so. Why don't you feel bad for the fucking horse? Like, it's just sitting there trying to drink some water, eat some hay or straw or whatever it is, and this guy's fucking just
tapping him on the forehead.
Smacking his penis.
I don't like to envision this, so I'm trying not to, but it's very descriptive. But was the horse standing and that guy was like on a soapbox?
It doesn't describe, but yes, I know what you're saying.
Or was the horse laying down?
Horses are fucking tall. Do horses lay down?
Yeah.
They do? That seems like a dumb question, but I anytime a horse is laying down, I always see that like they end up shooting the horse. So I didn't know, because don't they cows sleep standing up,
Cows
don't they?
sleep,
Yeah, so I don't know about horses.
Cow tipping.
Yeah.
The horse's mouth is pretty powerful.
Yeah, they got
And
this
it's right
big
next
ass
to
chompers.
his nostrils. Like, all it would take is one little chomp.
Yeah, and your penis does resemble a carrot. And
Horses eat carrots?
Horses love carrots. Yeah.
Okay. But they don't love penises.
They don't love penises. Or maybe they do. Maybe they love to get nostril fucked by a penis.
I'm going on a limb and say no living thing likes to get nostril fucked.
I think that's a fair statement.
Just putting it out there.
But it's just the idea of like this guy just standing there, just trying to like. He's like, you know what? I'm a little riled up. And then looks outside and he's like, Raven.
The pigs were out of the pen.
Raven's looking a little good today. The sun's glistening off.
The towel just flapping, smacking
making
the flies
maiden
off.
calls towards me. And then he just goes out and just like, you know what? I'm just going to masturbate next to the horse.
Hats off to to men like that.
I did not think that's what you're going to say.
I've been horny before.
Okay.
I've never been that horny where I could finish on a horse.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's also the problem, right? Guys are just pieces of shit.
It does tend to make you think that guys are pieces of shit.
Yeah, and so oddly different, but I'll tie it together. I was flying maybe like 1 or 2 times ago, and when like a minor flies, of course they like the stewardess, help them if they're flying without their parents.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And
I thought you were saying like a short flight, like a minor flight.
There was like the row behind me was a gentleman at the window, like the window seat, and then the middle seat was open, and then it was like an elderly lady, and the stewardess came, and like it was one of the only seats open. And I think they like the minors to hang up front. The stewardess went over to the guy who was just a regular Joe, like probably flying for business or something, didn't look creepy, and she was like, "Sir, I'm gonna have to ask you to move your seat." Because this, this minor, it was a female, and I think they probably do it with all, but it was a young girl, probably like 8 to 9.
Okay.
Is flying, and she needs to sit in the seat, and we don't allow adult men to sit next to minors.
Oh, really?
So he had to move and switch seats with a female that was like across the row, and so that the minor was with 2 females. And I thought, like, even though I wasn't a part of it, I thought, that guy's a creep.
Yeah.
But it could easily have just been me sitting there.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you just feel like I'm sure he felt fucking odd. Like, I'm not doing anything.
Because they say it to you, but then there is other people like further back that you may have not heard the conversation. See this little kid sitting down and this guy has to move. You're like,
right.
Is this guy registered?
Yeah. Or just, like, why is this lady? Like, she could be a kitty diddler. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm just flying. But it's just men suck so bad that they can't handle, like, airline can't legally or ethically let them sit next to an unaccompanied minor.
Yes, it is. It's a weird thing. I know. I'm trying to think of a scenario, but I remember like I was somewhere, and then there was like a kid next to me by himself, and you could tell the kid was like nervous or whatever. So I just started talking to the kid, just being like, hey, how are you doing? Like, my name's Steve. I was just like, are you excited to do whatever the scenario was? And just trying to like
lighten the mood,
make the kid, because you could tell the kid. But then it's like, as I get older, I'm like, does that seem creepy? To
right, like
to
if
do
your
that?
daughter was flying,
yeah,
and
some
like a perfectly fine man, whatever. But as an adult man, if my daughter sat down and I was still like on the, the tarmac window, like looking out, like 'cause she was flying somewhere, I would be pissed. Like,
exactly.
I don't want my,
So it's like a weird thing, because it's just like I like no ill intention. I just saw the kid was nervous, just trying to be friendly and then, make the kid. But guys suck so bad that I have to think to myself that like everyone else is going to think I'm fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then so now it's just like at this point now in my 40s, if I'm in that same scenario, I probably wouldn't say anything.
Just punch the kid in the face. Like, don't talk to me.
Just
keep your hands on. This is my armrest.
Start
bitch.
looking at stuff that talk about it on the podcast. So they look down and just see penises and OnlyFans models.
Which takes us to my last thing I want to talk about, and it parlays so beautifully into this because men apparently suck so bad. Did you hear about the new bill that they're trying to pass?
I mean, lately there's a lot of things that, but you might have to be a little bit more specific about that.
So in Mississippi, they are attempting to pass a bill, and the bill is named Contraception Begins at Erection. And the parts of this bill are so ridiculous. I think the people that proposed the bill are trying to make a point.
Like make it's so stupid,
Yeah.
like that kind of thing.
I think they're trying to make a point, but either way, it's an actual bill being proposed in Mississippi.
Yeah, so it still may pass.
Right. It still made it far enough.
Yeah.
And some of the points of the bill, and the main one, which should grab every man in Mississippi by the balls, it shall be unlawful for a person to discharge genetic material without the intent to fertilize an embryo.
What?
So how do you take that if you want to put it in layman's terms?
Anytime you are gonna bust the nut, the only time you should do said action is to create life.
Correct. So essentially making masturbation illegal for men.
Yes.
Upon conviction of a violation of this section, a person shall be fined $1,000 for the first offense, $5,000 for the second offense, and $10,000 for a third and subsequent offense.
That is fucking absurd.
And then
so many socks are going to feel justified.
And it goes on to say, this section shall not apply to the discharge of genetic material, and that's if you donate to a facility for the purpose of procedures like fertilizing an embryo.
Could you imagine people are not allowed to masturbate except to create life? So they just keep all that like...
I mean, really, you couldn't masturbate at all, I guess, unless you could, right before you bust one, you put it in. You know what I mean? But
yeah. And you couldn't, like, that was the only spot you could ever, like,
right.
you could ever do it. So it is stopping... God, it's so crazy to me because I feel like it would create more like rage in guys.
Yeah. If I'm reading between the lines, and this article doesn't go outright and say it, but probably something along the lines of like a women's contraception.
Yeah.
I would say like it's maybe similar to that.
If it gets past Mississippi's a dumb state.
Right. Like, who cares? I mean, I'm sure we have a listener or two in there, but
I know. Hey, if we do have a listener in Mississippi, I feel sorry.
Are you worried?
For you.
Are you worried? Write in and let us know.
I know this would be, number one on my ballot. Like,
can you imagine how men are going to protest? They're going to stand in front of the courthouse and just start whipping them out.
Yeah. Like, think about
we all slimy on those steps.
People, I know, like how women take their tops off, they protest. Guys will just start jacking
each other
all
off
over the courtrooms. It's feel like a movie theater floor. So gross. Oh, well, I hope Mississippi comes to its senses and vetoes, knocks this shit down because it's a domino effect. We're on a slippery slope.
Rim shot. And we're going to end it with that one for today. Whew. I'm sweating.
Man, we had lots of highs and lows. Like, it's like sad things, happy things.
I'm sad that anybody who asks me what's up with my movie, I'll go listen to that episode. But don't listen to anything beyond that. Just turn it
20
off.
minutes in.
All right, guys, follow us on the socials. Don't forget to follow ESA Movie, and I'll try to put a link in the description. But either way, everybody's on Instagram. ESA Movie. Follow it. Follow Inappropriate with Jim and Steve on Instagram to keep up with us.
And look forward to seeing that, whatever, the pitch video.
Oh, the pitch video.
I can't wait to see it.
I want everybody to see it, and you can be honest whether you thought it was good or not, but don't hurt my feelings.
Don't say this video was worse than the Mississippi law.
All right, guys, thank you for listening. Come back next week. We will probably be here.
Most likely.
I'm Jim.
I'm Steve.